Happy New Year. I am digging out from my own bomb cyclone in my office. We weren't able to get to my parents for Christmas. They booked tickets to come to my house instead. They came in late last night and were on the phone with my younger brother this morning. He was talking about the woes in this market that has been so tough for buyers. The market is correcting. Now we've got these crazy interest rates. In any case, he and his wife are having their second baby in a few months and they're feeling a little bit snug in their existing home. Even though I sold him his first home 11 years ago and he's sold and bought another house, he's still feeling the pinch. I gave him my tips for buyers when they're feeling priced out and they're feeling frustrated. This is what I do as a realtor for 17 going on 18. I'm going to share these with you and hopefully you can use them to your benefit. First tip is get creative. I can't stress this enough. Sometimes that little change is all you need to find success. Instead of looking for 2 bathrooms, see if it has an option for 1 3/4 bathrooms or 1.5 bathrooms if you'd be willing to live with that. Little nuances make a difference because they'll give you more homes if the search portal allows you to make the choice. Look at the total square footage instead of just the number of bedrooms. Sometimes people convert bedrooms into other spaces. I've seen homes where there's actually 4 bedrooms and the owner decides that they need more closet. They might take an empty, unused bedroom and turn it into exactly that. I've even seen wacky stuff like a 4-bedroom home being converted to 2, but the house is 3,000 square feet. When you look at those things, when you get inside, you'll notice that there is actually another space to use as a bedroom. They just took it away. That stuff is really easy to change. It's usually drywall and paint and some framing, and it's easy peasy. Look outside or just outside of your target area. Realtors are imperfect. Sometimes they code the listing incorrectly. Instead of it being in one area, it's someplace totally different and you don't actually see it. Look just outside the area. Instead of putting in a city, try looking for a zip code instead of a zip code. Draw boundaries around where you want to be. Sometimes the zip code might change and you don't even know it. You might be eliminating some good options. Next, prioritize your needs. Knowing what you need and what you want. If you do not do this, you may suffer from what I call being blinded by the pretty. People walk into a house and they're so wowed by like the staging and the colors and the presentation that they miss the fact that the home does not meet any of their actual needs. Ironically enough, one of the first houses my brother wrote an offer on, I walked into it and said, this place is not so good. It wasn't until we went through and had the home inspection that he understood what I was talking about. The primary bath sink drain was held together with, I kid you not, a Swedish fish wrapper. The very next home we went into was one that didn't look great. I actually had to convince him to go inside this home because he hated something about it. I don't even remember what it was. After he got comfortable, before we ever walked out the door, he wanted to write an offer. That's something else. Pictures are very deceiving. If you see something that just puts you off and eliminates something for some weird superficial reason, you might miss out on a really good home. Commit your priorities to writing. I can't stress this enough. It's really easy to keep it all up here, but in the midst of all the other things like addresses and phone numbers, your social security number, birthdays, your pant size, your children's information, you forget stuff. So write it down. I had some clients who weren't sure about a house. They were moving up. I said to them, did you guys make your list like I told you? They said, yes, yes, yes. We walked in the door with their list and they were giddy when they realized that this house checked every single box. Needless to say, that was 2016 and they're still there. Put in the elbow grease. And not everybody is inclined to repairing, improving, maintaining a house, but you will be financially better off if you can. In a volatile market, which it is right now, we're going through a market correction. If you buy a house that you can put work into, you kind of insulate yourself. In real estate, 1 + 1 shouldn't be 2. It really should equate to like 3 or 4. You're putting in the investment so that it pays off. Dumb stuff like you put in a orange, whatever your favorite team is, sport court in the backyard. Yes, it might bring you lots of enjoyment, but usually they don't pay off in the long run. Making improvements that will be saleable long-term will do well for you. You're looking for a home that has your basic needs, maybe some of your wants, but there's room for improvement. When you buy perfect, there's nothing else to do to it, you're not going to recoup value if you keep adding to it. You don't want to be a buyer in a buyer's market. Buying in a seller's market is ideal because yes, even though the prices are going up, so is your appreciation. In a buyer's market where prices are coming down, you're losing. So you're buying something here and then it's going to keep going down. Don't do that. You're basically writing the market down. Finally, buy as much land as you can afford. My rationale is in any market, The more land you have, the more valuable the property is. You can build on it, you can add to it, you can split your lot, potentially, depending on the lot. There's more upside to buying a too big lot than a too small lot. God is not making any more dirt. Keep that in mind. Here's the one caveat I will say in terms of buying more land. If maintaining that land is going to cost you substantially more, make sure your cost to maintain said land is not going to do you in with your overall ability to hold. Another option is to buy with a buddy. When I say a buddy, I'm talking about people who are not married to each other. I say this cautiously. There are some concerns when you buy with someone that you are not married to. Let's just say someone dies. What happens? The title or how that you hold the deed is an important piece of it. There are tax implications. There are other financial implications. There's your loan implications. Here's some things to think about. Have an exit strategy. And by exit strategy, what I mean is, just like an investor, before you ever buy a place, you need to know how you're going to get out of it. What does it look like if you've got an emergency and you can't afford it, or if it's not panning out the way you wanted it to? If you buy a house that is just perfect for you today and it doesn't suit your needs tomorrow, a year from now, and you're stuck with it, that's a bad situation. Let's just say if you're two people of the same sex, if one of you gets a significant other, and maybe you're going to get married, then what? Or you have a falling out. Or if you're a couple, you break up. All these things are very realistic. Plan for how you're going to deal with that if it does actually occur. Plan for how you're going to actually set up paying for utilities, for the mortgage, for expenses, repairs, you name it. Have an agreement so it doesn't kind of hit you by surprise and then you can't make the payment in time and that causes you more issues. At the minimum, you want to have money set aside for maintenance because there are things like roofs and landscaping or pools or lights or HVAC filters, things like that that need to be taken care of on a regular basis. You have to have money to do that. And then, of course, you want to have your rainy day catastrophe fund in case something crazy happens. I once had a 50-foot pine tree fall on my house. It's not the norm, but you should be prepared for anything. And then you can become the landlord. You buy the house and you have roommates, but pay your mortgage with the rental income. If you're going to do that, have a plan for vacancies. Someone moves out. Again, same stuff, you have a falling out, etc., etc. Even though you're friends, you might want to have a lease agreement. You have something in writing to fall back on. If it's not in writing, good luck enforcing it if push comes to shove and you find yourself in court over it. Plan to hold the house or property or whatever it is for at least 5 years. The reason is the costs you incur to buy are similar to the costs you'll incur to sell. In fact, it actually costs more to sell. As long as the real estate is done the way it is today, where sellers pay for the buyer's agent's fees, but in a perfect world, you've held the property long enough to make up for that expense with the appreciation and the equity that you build. This should be a no-brainer, but I'm going to stress this. If you keep renting, you move. If your landlord decides that they no longer want to be landlords, they want to sell, they're going to cash in, you're going to keep moving. That is one of the single most expensive parts about being a renter. If you can't stay long-term, you're going to incur those costs to pick up all your crap and move it. Hello, it's not fun anyway. I understand that buying is not the plan for everybody, but long-term, it saves money and it builds your own net worth. Last, even if you are not going to live in the house for 5 years, have a plan to make sure that someone else can. Let's just say you're in the military and you get called to duty. Make sure whatever it is, you can turn around and rent it out. I actually had a friend who did this. I advised him. That is exactly what happened. He did a couple of tours in Afghanistan and Iraq, but his place had tenants. He was able to keep making the payments on his home. Those are the basics. And then finally, this last one, I'm going to call it an unofficial number 6. Be flexible. The best laid plans still go sideways. If you have a strategy and it's solid, you just get a better scenario. You'll have a better final result and a better experience, period. Hopefully that helps you. If I missed anything, give me a call. Ask me questions, and I'm happy to do it. Good luck.